Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, so let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So, first and foremost, we are going to be addressing the elephant in the room, and that is, of course, the overall drop in crypto. We are seeing a major pullback on Bitcoin and most of the market, of course. And we did see even the stock exchange have a rough day today. At the current moment in time that I am recording this, it is around roughly 1 a.m. EST. So basically real time right now. But we have been watching this market for this pullback. We have been waiting for this pullback. I also don't believe that the bottom is in on Bitcoin. We have been talking about this for a while. We have been, discussing a few levels to watch for. It is within that mid-teen range, which is, roughly the 14 to 16K region that I'm watching. Yes, it could go lower, but I am watching altcoins, right? We have been looking at a few altcoins to buy the dip on. We are still eyeing the graph. The graph is an awesome coin that is, currently extremely undervalued, but it looks like it could slip down below 10 cents yet again. A lot of those OG legacy assets like EOS and a few other ones are also good. But yeah, this market to me is just screaming buys, and the buy signal right now is a lot of the panic, right? Now, of course, I told you guys that I don't trade the weekend. I usually don't like to buy over the weekend because usually we get a little bit more of, a downside move on Mondays. I have been averaging in a little bit today. I have watched, a few coins like even QNT kind of come down below my demand range. So I did start to accumulate a little bit more, but I haven't bought like a massive amount. But currently we are seeing a major, swift change throughout the entire markets as we, going back 2-3 weeks ago, everybody was saying, bull run is back on, prepare for all-time highs, prepare for this. And it's like, to me, we need to be above significant levels on Bitcoin to even be bullish again. And those significant levels are like roughly 30 some K. Like even at 30K, we are still in a major downtrend on Bitcoin. So, am I going to get bullish once we do break up to like 30K? 100%. But I'm not going to be extremely bullish when we hit, major resistance on the chart while everyone is screaming all-time highs. In fact, I actually want a lot of individuals to say, yeah, this pump is a scam. There's no way like this is coming back down to test this, blah, blah, blah. Because that tells me that there's a lot of uncertainty and there's no hope around this market. And those are the best times to be extremely bullish. And we've seen that a few times, even going back as far as like March of 2020, for an example. A lot of people thought that this market was dead, completely dead. And that was the best buy signal ever. And do I believe that we recently had that going back to around June? I do think that that was a perfect buy opportunity. And in fact, we were buying the dip. I told you guys to definitely, pay attention to what we are seeing in the market and average in. And right now, we're waiting to see some nice lows being taken out. And my levels that I'm watching for is right around the range that we're at now, almost at like 19.8K zone. So that's what we are watching, but we do see the U.S. stock market wiped out $1.25 trillion today, and as you guys do see all the red on this chart, shout out to FinTwit News, and yeah, I mean, like when we really kind of look at this, everything was red today. Today was probably one of the worst days financially for a lot of these markets, and this is because, of course, Jerome Powell came out and spoke. Just in, Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the U.S. economy should brace for some pain. And it's funny that we are seeing this like talk around like some pain. We've heard like, inflation is transitory compared to, all right, yeah, two negative GDP reports in a row does not mean that we're in a recession. And, oh, the inflation rates are, 9%, even though you are seeing 50% at the gas tank, 50%, on your rent. And we are seeing, groceries up massively. But don't worry, because inflation is at 9%. They are sugarcoating everything. When we look at this, some pain to me means that we will see max pain in these markets, specifically the entire economy. And we also do see over here, like, it is true that the current high inflation is a global phenomenon. Fed Chair Powell says that the Fed's responsibility to achieve price stability is still the priority, despite high inflation. Listen closely to this.
It is true that the current high inflation is a global phenomenon, and that many economies around the world face inflation as high or higher than seen here in the United States. It's also true, in my view, that the current high inflation in the United States is the product of strong demand and constrained supply, and that the Fed's tools work principally on aggregate demand. None of this diminishes the Federal Reserve's responsibility to carry out our assigned task of achieving price stability. There is clearly a job to do in moderating demand to better align with supply. We are committed to doing that job.
And also, just so that you guys know, that video was pretty low for me as well. I actually had to turn it up quite a bit in regards to gain. I do apologize if you guys didn't really hear it all that much, but basically it is the Fed, really kind of covering themselves and, hiding away from the major truth here, which is, guess what? The U.S. is in a moment of no return. There is no returning to normal. We are in a hyperinflation sort of market now, and well, technically you could argue that it's stagflation at this point, but things are looking pretty rough out there. Now, with all of this in mind, we have been seeing a lot of discussions around CBDCs, and we actually did see a funny report come out earlier, and it was why the digital euro could destroy Ripple's XRP. Brace for impact. I thought this was extremely comical. So shout out to Lirziet on Twitter, but we do see the rise of central bank digital currency CBDCs and a potential ban on stablecoins poses a risk for XRP's adoption and utility. And we see that right down here. What I find funny about this is it's just a lack of knowledge. Like, this is a clear insight that tells me, listen, we do not understand XRP's potential. We don't understand XRP's utility. If anything, the rise of central bank digital currencies actually promotes XRP's adoption and utility, because all of these CBDCs need that bridge currency. XRP is at the forefront of this. So to me personally, when we look at stablecoins, when we look at central bank digital currencies, which by the way, stablecoins do not need to be the stablecoins that we know about on a day-to-day basis. Like for an example, USD Coin or even Tether. We've actually talked about commercial grade stablecoins in the past that could promote financial inclusivity for a lot of these central banks instead of them actually having a CBDC. All of them still need, at the end of the day, XRP to be that liquidity bridge currency, which will provide that ease of transaction. This is where you do see that converting, for example, like a digital euro or a euro stablecoin to a digital dollar or again a US dollar stablecoin. That piece of the puzzle, that middle piece that changes the entire landscape of financial transactions is XRP. So to me, these articles that get written are completely idiotic. And we've seen this problem, around this entire market for so long, to the point where it just gets laughable at this point. You almost have to think that this is paid FUD. Because it just doesn't make sense at all. And this is a problem with this entire market as well. Like even QNT, which is probably one of the most utility-driven assets out there, continuously gets fudded and thrown down the stairs and says, oh, yeah, it's worth nothing. They're doing nothing. The token's useless. It's blah, 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 this, that. And even the same goes for XRP. Like everybody thinks that it's all Ripple, it's Ripple, it's Ripple, but you got to look at the underlying technology here. XRP is revolutionary by design. And also, talking about XRP and talking about things happening around this sector, the SEC. So in yesterday's video, I went on a tangent rant talking about the SEC, talking about their overstretching of, power. We know that Gary Gensler is power hungry. He is trying to go after everyone and anything in this market. And I thought that this was funny. We do see Johnny Deaton quoting this tweet saying 100% true. And we do see down here from Ryan Selkis on Twitter, Chair Gary Gensler shows respect and deference to the CCP while spitting in the face of the U.S. entrepreneurs who might help us retain our lead in finance. And 100%, when we look at, these major corporations, I shouldn't even say corporations, they're more so, decentralized companies. Most of them are. Of course, if you want to go look at like Ripple, that's, more of a centralized company. Does not mean that XRP is centralized, by the way. I'm just saying like the company itself is not like a DAO or anything like that within crypto. But a lot of these major companies and a lot of these major projects are here to help, not only innovate further within finance, but also change the entire way that we utilize financial tools. They are becoming the revolutionary aspect of where the future of finance, really kind of leads to. But the problem here is that it's all being stifled by the SEC. And we actually do see over here today, the US and Chinese authorities agreed to a framework to allow the PCAOB to inspect and investigate auditors in China and Hong Kong. It's the first time we have received such detailed and specific commitments from China. Read my statement. And of course, here we have, Gary Gensler's statement. Like, it's just comical at this point that we have this individual that is, a chairman of an agency that nearly every single investor, right, retail investor that has been a part of this XRP lawsuit, for an example, you got to think about it like this, right? We have over 70,000 individuals that have signed the class action lawsuit. Like, this is 70,000 individuals that do not agree with what the SEC is doing. Not only that, but there's still a very large portion of individuals that are not even invested into XRP, never even touched XRP, that are also seeing the major issue here around the SEC. This is such it's an embarrassment to not only retail individuals that are here to try to make money off of, very innovative technology, but it's embarrassing for the entire U.S. This needs to stop. And we even do see down here, like, CCP is dropping missiles over Taiwan, and the SEC wants you to believe that the problem with Chinese companies is the lack of access to audit papers. Ignoring there is no corporate governance and loyalty is to, CCP party and CEOs, not to corporations slash shareholders. Fraud is encouraged. There's a lot of issues here. I was actually just talking about this the other day. I was like, Gary Gensler has a net worth of over $100 million. Do you honestly think that he achieved his wealth just by, being the face of, the MIT, classes and, giving his insights on crypto and this and that? Listen, at the end of the day, there's a lot of issues going on. There's a lot of, problems happening right now at the forefront for the SEC. We just talked about this yesterday with oversight. There's issues that need to be discussed, that needs to be, put in the spotlight. And I do think that it starts with the SEC lawsuit against, Ripple with XRP, because it was such a broad overstretch of not only power, but also, this is a market that cannot be in the jurisdictions as, we are utilizing things from the 1940s for new age technology around finance. This asset class is completely different compared to anything else. We are trying to utilize frameworks that have been a part of the system for many, many years. Crypto itself is still a very early age technology asset class. It came out around 2008 and 2009. And since its inception, there has never been issues up until now where we do see such broad overreach and overuse of power. And I've argued that it is more of an ego play than anything. They thought that it was an easy case. And guess what? Ripple said, we are not going out easily. We don't care about settling. We want to win this. And why would they want to win? It's so that the SEC can never do this anymore to any other individuals in this market. Remember, Ripple is a very large company. So for them, they could have easily have settled. But they said no. And now we are still seeing overreach. Dragon Coin was the last one. Before that one, we had Library. And, all of these tokens, all of these companies are trying to go about things the right way. But there's no guidelines to follow. And this is such a big issue within this market. But we will not see innovation unless we see some sort of step in from Congress, from the CFTC, or something happen here. We cannot continue on like this with guesstimating, hey, are we following the guidelines? Is my token, is my company, leading up to, or I shouldn't say leading up, but following the guidelines of the SEC? No, you don't know. It's honestly a shot in the dark. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As that is up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.